Cool. So yeah, so I read your I read the the form that you filled out, like the interview, that whole thing, and that was you definitely filled out very nicely. You're definitely one of the people who filled it out like filled it out the most, and my team and I, we definitely love your story like a lot. So that's why we wanted to kind of this interview. I can't really hear you if that's yeah.
How about now?
Yeah, that's a lot better. Yeah.
All right.
So we absolutely love your story, and we just kind of wanted to interview to get a much deeper glimpse into who you are and like your story. So yeah, um, so kind of just just speak a little bit more about your story. Talk to me about like kind of how you developed your love for music, how how you got started in the music industry, all that kind of stuff.
Okay. Honestly, it really started when I was about 5 or 6 years old. My parents, they decided to put me in piano classes, and it was one of those things that I didn't want to do as a child.
Yeah.
Because, you want to do other fun stuff. You want to go on the park with your friends and stuff like that. But for me, it was like piano lessons, theory lessons, tennis lessons. Like my parents was really just trying to keep me busy with other stuff.
Hmm.
And so that's kind of like where the love for it started because I realized, okay, this is the only thing that they're making me do. So let me just try and dive into it. And at an early age, like I started, learning how to play music by ear, and I started writing lyrics and all of this stuff. And honestly, I didn't think of it as a career at the time. I just thought of it as me developing, whatever musical skills that I had already obtained. But it wasn't until I want to say 11th grade I started a cover band with some of my friends, and that's really where the true love for music came in because now here is a group of five guys and we were just playing music that we loved, and it sounded like the tracks, like we were okay musicians for teenagers, but when we did covers for other songs, like it started to sound real cool. And being from the islands, because I'm originally from the Bahamas,
Hmm.
you don't get a lot of people coming together playing popular music. We play a lot of our native music, but because we were known for playing popular music, we kind of got our name around the island and did a few things or whatnot. But that's really where the true love for music came in. So right after high school, I went to college. I did my first degree was in music. Pretty much all my degrees were in music. And after doing that associate's degree, I realized, okay, I really want to take this thing serious. I want to take this to the next level. And I started working on production, really perfecting that craft of it because I didn't have, any computer at the time. I didn't have any programs, any DAWs. I didn't have any MIDI controllers. I didn't have any speakers. I just had this desire. So as time went on, I just kind of put everything together. And I was like, okay, my beats sounding all right. Let me start reaching
Hmm.
out to artists, people that was from the same island that I was from. I started reaching out to them. Hey, you rap or you sing? Is it cool if I like, let you hear some of my beats? You could just kind of rap and sing on it for free. Just make sure you say produced by Big Vezi, that type of thing. So that was really like my entrance, I would say, into the music industry, just kind of reaching out to artists. And then from there, like as I moved to the States, I just started doing the same process, just reaching out to people, networking, just trying to get my name out there while at the same time working on the craft, perfecting the craft. Because even though I started making beats, I want to say like 2012, 2013, I don't think my sound was really much there until about 2 or 3 years ago. I feel like I finally like found what it is that I was trying to do sound wise. And yeah, I've been in school up until 2018. So my real entry into the industry, I would say, outside of school would be like the late part of 2018 when I moved to Shanghai and I started working with artists in Shanghai and I started like playing with jazz bands in Shanghai, and then I got invited to do work at studios and stuff like that. So it was really cool doing that for a year in Shanghai, and then I moved back to Atlanta because my fiance, she has a job here in Atlanta. So I
Okay.
moved back to Atlanta with her, and I was like, yo, it's crazy that you got a job in Atlanta because Atlanta's like the music capital right
Yeah.
now. So literally, I just came here and I did what I do anywhere else. You know, I started networking, reaching out to people, going to events, seeing what's what, and it's been cool since I've been here, honestly. And I forgot to talk about the amount of artists that I worked with. It's a good bit. I can't remember the number exactly, but they're all on my website. But yeah, working with those guys over the years too has really helped me build myself up, not just as a producer, but as someone who really loves the industry, because then you get to share stories and you get to um, figure out why other persons love this thing so much, why they are even in the industry in the first place. And that really just kind of helped me to really find my way and navigate to the things that I want to do. And I feel like now I kind of have a clear understanding of what it is that I want to do in this industry for sure. It's mainly music production slash songwriting, but I also really love just being in sessions. Not so much just sending packs out, but I just love being in sessions with the artists, with the engineer, and we could do something from scratch. Like to me, that's just the greatest thing ever. If I could do that for pretty much anything that I work on, like I'd love that.
Dope.
Yeah.
So yeah, so yeah, you were born in the Bahamas, from what I take. And then so talk to me a little bit more about like that defining moment that you kind of had, while you were enrolled at the University of Bahamas. Because I know like earlier you were talking about like you had this defining moment that really sparked your like there was this one period of time where I think it was that you didn't directly get into the music program, but you had to work
Yes.
really, really hard for one semester to be able to do that. So talk to me
Yes.
a little bit more about that defining moment.
So I'll give you a little bit of context before I tell you about the defining moment. So when I went to apply for University of the Bahamas music program, I didn't realize there was an audition process. Because it's a small school, I just figured I'd apply, I'll get in. But it was an audition process, and I was not prepared for an audition. Um, and they basically told me, look, if you want to be in the music degree program, this is what you should have come prepared with. So we can't accept you this semester. So I went and I spoke to the person that was in charge of the music department. I was like, is there anything that I can possibly do to get in?
Yeah.
And they were like, yes, you can take some classes, but we can't make you a music major. So I had to become a business major for one semester, but I was taking some of the music classes that they would have allowed me to take. And this person told me, hey, if you work hard this semester, if you bring your skill set up to the level that we want, we could make you a music major at the end of the semester. And so, I just really wanted it. So I work hard at it. I practiced the piano. I want to say anywhere between 4 to 6 hours every day. I was practicing the piano, and this was classical training, by the way. This isn't pop music or jazz or nothing like that. This is classical training. So I was practicing, 4 to 6 hours every day while doing other work. And fast forward a little bit, it wasn't until I became a part of the school's jazz band and they wanted me to start arranging music, which pushed me to get involved in like Logic and Finale and stuff like that. So that was really the defining moment right there when I started to do arrangements for old music to kind of make it sound more modern, and just really diving into like I said, the different DAWs. It was really that moment there when I was like, okay, I want to do this. Like I want to make my own music because for a while I was so good at, or at least I thought I was so good at making other person's music sound good. And I always had like a creative side in me. And I was like, okay, I would love to start making my own music. And then when I started experimenting with that, a lot of people like were really encouraging me and like giving me, pats on the back. Hey, bro, like this sounds cool. This sounds dope. I think if you keep pushing with it, it'll be cool. So that was really the defining moment when I started to work on arrangements for old songs to make it sound more modern. I was like, yeah, this is it for me.
Wow, that's like crazy because you had to have like this amount of discipline like every single day, like 4 to 6 hours every day. Like to me, it's kind of so that's like kind of what you to achieve your dream or to the program.
Yeah.
Um, so how did you like did you have friends or like I mean not like that, but did you like make time for like to spend time with your friends or spend time with your family or spend time with like if you had intimate relationships, but
So
how did you like balance all that? Did you just tell them like, hey, look, this is my goal, this is what I got to do every day, or how did you kind of like do all that?
actually, actually during that time, I did not socialize as much.
Hmm.
I just was so focused on achieving that goal. Pretty much everything else kind of fell off. Yeah, I still had friends that I would talk to, on the weekends or sometimes through the week, but I didn't do any parties like those 2 years because it was just an associate's degree. So those 2 years, I didn't do any parties, no clubs. Like it was just straight work. Yes, I was in a relationship at the time. She was off to school in another country, so that kind of helped. So while she was, doing her thing, I was just doing my thing, and we would just talk at night before we go to bed.
Hmm.
But yeah, I didn't really balance it with anything else. I pretty much, when I realized that I had to work as hard as I did, I just dropped everything and I focused on that. Thankfully, my parents were understanding about that. They didn't sweat me about it. I told them, hey, this is what I got to do. So, we just kind of caught up whenever. But yeah, I didn't balance it with anything. Honestly, I just did what I needed to do because I wanted to achieve that goal really bad.
Wow, that's awesome because a lot of people that we meet, they don't really have that sort of discipline or like to be able to or that sort of work ethic to get to where they want to go. So it's amazing to see that you're able to put your mind. And that was you just coming straight out of high school, right? That
Yeah, that
wasn't.
was
Yeah,
straight out
that's
of high school.
like crazier because like at such a young age, we have just so many temptations to want to do other things that just being able to focus on your goal and where you want to go. That's awesome.
So true. I appreciate that, man.
Oh yeah, of course. But yeah, so then you ended up leaving the Bahamas to go to Spain and like to go to Berkeley, which is as everyone knows is like one of the top schools in like in tech and science and in music and like
I'm,
so yeah.
I'm still in shock about it, honestly, because again, being from the Bahamas, not everybody gets the opportunity to even go away for school, because such a small country, parents, when they think of sending their kids to school, they want them to either become a doctor or a lawyer or get into like some sort of finance thing. But for me, it was music. So it was kind of hard because, music degrees, or at least I believe music degrees are a bit more expensive than your average, education, doctor, all that stuff. So when I applied for Berkeley, I didn't even think I was going to get in
Mhm.
because it wasn't even the bachelor's degree, it was the master's degree.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I don't know if I'm ready, but I'm gonna apply because it was my
Mhm.
dream school. Growing up, being around other musicians, all we did was sit down and watch other students from YouTube, because back in the day, and I don't know if they still do it now, but back in the day, a lot of students from Berkeley, they used to make these crazy covers and they used to post them on YouTube. And we just used to sit around and watch those covers. And man, honestly, when I got accepted, it was like a surreal feeling because I couldn't wait to tell all my friends who did music with me growing up. I was like, yo, I got into Berkeley. Like it's crazy because we all had the dream of, going to Berkeley one day, but I got in and moving to Spain was just the icing on the cake, honestly.
Yeah. So
I,
like why Spain? Why not like the US or why
so
go all the way to Spain?
So I didn't really have a choice. Berkeley has all of their bachelor's programs on Boston campus,
Mhm.
and all of their master programs is in Spain.
Oh, okay.
Because and I learned this when I started the school, that all of the students on the Boston campus is pretty much full to capacity. Like,
Okay.
because the amount of students they have come in every year,
Mhm.
they really can't house anyone else on the campus in Boston. So they open up another campus in Spain to kind of move some of the students somewhere else so there's space. And even while I was in Spain, they had different programs for the undergrad students to come over there. And Berkeley just opened up a third campus in Abu Dhabi. So they're really trying to, space things out so the Boston campus can have some more space, because apparently the Boston campus just doesn't have any space. The classrooms are all full, the rooms are all full. So I didn't really have a choice moving to Spain, but
And how
I
was
don't regret it.
like how was that for you and your family and your loved ones?
So
Like were they excited? Were they like
yeah,
oh
I want to say everyone was excited about me moving to Spain.
mhm.
I was nervous because I had never moved that far away from home. Yes, I had lived in the US before, but it wasn't that far. I was just in Orlando, and Orlando is probably like a 2 hour flight away from where I'm from. So it wasn't that far. Um, but yeah, I was a bit nervous at first. I don't know how my parents truly felt. They supported it. They seemed happy. So I was cool about that. My girlfriend at the time, she was cool about it. It sucked though, because we were in two different time zones, and so we had to learn how to communicate, with me being 6 hours ahead and her being 6 hours behind. So that was pretty much like the biggest stress of that whole thing. Me trying to communicate effectively, with her. But yeah, moving to Spain was cool. When I got there, obviously I didn't know any Spanish. Um, but I was able to get around. I was able to, find an apartment and get groceries and food. And as I got familiar with students around campus, I found out which ones spoke Spanish. So I just kind of got close to the ones that spoke Spanish so they could help me out. But yeah, it was really, really nice. I would encourage anybody who get the opportunity to go to Berkeley
Mhm.
to go to the campus in Spain, because it's really, really good. And just the city, Valencia alone, is a very, very nice city. There's so many things to see and so many things to do. Yeah, I really enjoyed it there.
So I know I was reading the blog post that we kind of have for you, um, and I was because there was like this one sentence that you were talking like one of our interns was also reading. He's like, this has to be. He said that this has to be the most beautiful sentence like ever constructed in the history of the human language or something. Let me see if I can like pull it up really quickly
No problem.
because I think it was about like your project, like your thesis project or like your final project or something.
Okay.
Um, how you were like a master student.
Yeah.
Let's see if
Yeah, I could speak to that.
it's okay. Yeah, so it was. I learned a lot about digital coding and video mapping, which led to my thesis project, which consists of a series of instrumentals accompanied by 360 music videos, all designed by yours truly. So yeah, like one of our interns absolutely loved that sentence, and um, you don't go that much into it, but I mean, if you could talk a little bit about like what that kind of means and what you were kind of learning and what was your final thesis project
So
right when you graduated.
okay. Um, so when I came there, I honestly had no idea what I wanted to do for my thesis project. Um, simply because they were challenging us to be innovative. And I
Mhm.
was like, yo, all I have to offer to life is piano and some cool beats. Like I don't know how innovative I can be with that. And so it took me a few months, honestly. I want to say I didn't realize what I wanted to do until like November, December of that first semester. Um, and so when I started to put it together, it was tough because I had never done anything that technical before.
Mhm.
Um, Learning how to code, like that was, I mean, that stressed me out. I used to be up hours, after doing homework. I would go on YouTube and like watch videos of people do the things that I was trying to do. Because guys on YouTube could kind of make things a bit simpler than what you would normally see a professor do in class. So I would just go on YouTube and like watch some videos too. But just to give you an idea of what the project really was, um, I always love different regions around the world, and I realized that this would be the perfect time for me to express my love for different regions musically. So I just created a 4-track EP, um, and each song was basically describing what I feel from these different regions with authentic and popular music combined. So I did a track called Africa. It was like some hip hop stuff with, African drums and African melodic instruments. I did a track called India that I used one of my colleagues who's actually from India,
Yeah.
and they sang on it. And I don't know exactly what you call it, but I was trying to get that real authentic Indian feel from it, because I know a lot of Indian music is ambient. It's really ambient music, like it's kind of like a pedal tone, and then someone is like singing or playing like the Indian scale over it. So like that's pretty much what I was trying to capture with that song. I did something called Japan, which was, I want to say was more pop with a Japanese influence on it. And then I couldn't think of another one, so I just went back to Africa, but I changed it and I called this track Egypt, because to me Egypt is like its own thing. So it was 4 tracks, and I was able to create 3 different environments. I didn't complete the project entirely. I made 4, but I made 3 environments inside this program called Unity. And I worked my computer to the bone, because Unity is one of those programs that requires so many RAM. But I was able to get it done, and I can actually send you a link to one of the videos that I have done. They're all still in prototype form, but it was still acceptable to present. And my professors, they were amazed by it, and I was surprised because, again, this is my first time doing something like this. I didn't think it was going to be, that well received. But they told me, I was way ahead of my time. They say, I don't think
Yeah.
they was like, I don't think people actually are interested in VR music videos right now, which is true. Not everybody have VR headsets at home. I have a VR headset at home because, of the project, but nobody just really has a VR headset at home. So
So it was like virtual reality.
yeah, it's like virtual reality, but I automated the video for you. So just like how you would sit down and
Yeah,
watch a
yeah.
music video at home.
That's
So
crazy.
right. So I automated all of the motions in it. So you would actually sit down, because
How'd you like come up with that? Did you have like experience with virtual reality before? Were you just like, oh, what if the music video was like in virtual reality?
it was like a domino effect. So I made the music first, and I was like, yo, it'll be cool if I have like an environment that
Yeah.
that basically describes what the music is actually doing. And then one of my professors was like, try it in VR. And I was like, bro, I don't even know how to do VR.
Yeah.
So anyway, He
Wow.
said try it in VR, and I respected him. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna try it in VR. I learned how to inject 360 metadata into videos. So I was able to create like a full 360 thing. So when you put on the goggles, you can kind of look up, look down, look all around. And
Or did you what kind of VR program did you use for that?
to inject the 360 metadata.
Or like hardware wise?
Oh, hardware wise, so the school has an Oculus Rift. So
Okay.
so I was able to go to the equipment room, and whenever I needed to test, I would just test on the Oculus Rift. But for my project, I didn't want to use Oculus Rift. I was trying to say anybody at home could just watch these videos. Oculus Rift is very expensive. So again, it was a 360, it's a 360 video. Like even if I send it to you now, you would be able to like watch it with your phone. Obviously, it'll be better if you have the VR headset. And again, I found a way to automate certain objects in the video to kind of, reflect with the music per se. Um, I still think it's a prototype. There's still so much work that
Okay,
needs
for
to
sure.
be done on it. I was just telling my fiance that eventually I'll invest in a separate computer that I can do that design stuff on, because if I try to do that along with my production stuff, I'm afraid this computer may give out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely something that I'm going to keep working on. And I hope others do it too. I think it's a cool thing to do in the future. Just like how we sit at home and we watch our favorite artist music video. Wouldn't it be cool if that was a whole 360 experience? You know, and again, it was just a domino effect. As I got deeper in it, I discovered more things, and I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this." And the actual video that I presented during my presentation was Egypt, and I mean, everybody who was in the room was amazed by how I was able to recreate what Egypt actually looked like. And honestly, I don't think I'm an artist, bro. I like a visual artist. I just was like, I'm gonna put a pyramid here. I'm gonna get the Sphinx. I'm
Yeah.
gonna put it there. I'm gonna put some ruins around. I'm gonna get sand and put stars up. Like I was just like just throwing stuff around, but like people were really taken back by it, and I was like, okay, I guess this is something here. So yeah, that's pretty much the story behind that, man. It was just one thing after the other.
Yeah, that definitely seems like the future for sure.
Yeah,
Like just being able to like 'cause like imagine like how much traction that would get just being able to experience the actual music video yourself because that would become a whole other profession on its own.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Wow. Is like do you know if anyone else is doing this kind of stuff or like
I want to say so. While I was there, I had friends that did VR as well. A lot. I think it was like three or four of us did virtual reality, but they did it in a sense where it was interactive, and I feel like interactive virtual reality has so many things that still need to be worked out in terms of like, if you, because when you're standing up and things are moving around, you can be disoriented, you can get dizzy, people have motion sickness, all sorts of things. I was trying to steer away from that because I too have motion sickness. I don't want to be standing up and don't know what's going on. So sitting down, watching something to me was like perfect. But yeah, other people are doing it. There's an artist out there. I don't know to what extent he did, but he did some sort of virtual reality thing for one of his albums. This R&B artist called Eric Bellinger. He did some R&B VR release with one of his projects. But again, it's not going to take off because it's still too early. Like the world hasn't fully accepted virtual reality, just like how the world in its entirety hasn't really fully accepted drones. Like I was just saying this yesterday. Yes, a lot of people have drones, but does everyone have a drone? Just like how the smartphone thing came around. When smartphones, sorry, first started coming out, a lot of people still had there are other phones that they had before that. They're regular phones, whether it was a Sidekick or Nokia or Motorola. Like eventually, everything just kind of went on to like this whole smartphone thing, and those companies that didn't catch up and make smartphones, obviously we don't hear about them anymore. We just know about Apple and Samsung. But I think a time is going to come where everything is going to be done on the phone. A lot of people may not even use TVs anymore. I personally only have a TV in here because it's like my monitor, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I use my phone pretty much to do everything. Sometimes I watch Netflix on my phone. I watch YouTube on my phone, so I feel like there's going to come a time where everyone is going to go to the VR stuff because it's cool. It's really cool. It's really interesting. And I've seen persons who have never experienced VR ever, and like I've seen their mouth like drop to the floor when they actually like understand. Wow, like the world. This is like a whole new world,
Yeah.
but it's all virtual. So I think it's gonna take off, but I don't know what it's gonna take, but I think it's gonna take off. Yeah.
Because like especially like you could have I feel like you could have like a virtual computer, like all your data is stored virtually.
Mhm.
So you're using like a laptop at that point, you know? Because then yeah, because then like your phone is just so convenient because of how small it is. It's just so easy.
And
Um,
after that, that'll open up the doors for AR, augmented reality,
yeah, definitely.
Mhm.
It's
Mhm.
crazy.
Yeah, man.
Um, but yeah, so I mean, you went from the Bahamas to Spain, and then you went to Shanghai. Like that's such a so many different places, like such a and like just in like such a small timeline. So yeah, talk a bit about like why you followed your girlfriend to Shanghai. Like, well, how did that come about, and like how did you decide to make that decision?
So me and her, we've been in a long distance relationship for like I want to say 5 years, maybe.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, about 5 years, and we were just done with being apart. We felt like it was time to finally come together. So she got a job in Shanghai for that year. But I found out long before I was going to be done with Spain. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just try come out to Shanghai with you. Honestly, I didn't know how I was going to get a job or anything like that. So
Yeah,
started reaching out to people, applying for jobs on LinkedIn, doing all of this stuff. And then I was talking to a recent graduate who he graduated from Berkeley as well, that was living in Shanghai. And I was speaking to him and I was like, hey, I'm trying to reach out because I want to move to Shanghai. Any advice, blah, blah, blah. And he basically told me like it's really hard to get a job in Shanghai as a foreigner unless you come there as a teacher. I was like, all right, I could do that. I mean, shoot, it's nothing. So I was like, all right, let me look for teaching jobs. So I was applying for music teacher jobs and
hmm
English teaching jobs. So the music teaching jobs were a bit more difficult because they were actually asking you to have 2 to 3 years of teaching experience. I was just coming out of college, so I didn't have any of that. So finally, I landed an English job, teaching job, English teaching job. Taught English, but I didn't stop there. So I started out teaching English, and then I got connected with this lady who had a music school, and she wanted to teach music production courses. So I was there for a while. Um, I got involved in like a jazz band, and these guys were really good. They played at pretty much all the different jazz spots around Shanghai. So it was cool. It was like I don't it was I mean the time went by so fast, but
hmm
it was just like a lot of work, you know.
hmm
Good work, the work that I was happy with doing because a lot of it was music related.
hmm
Obviously I still had to teach my English classes when I had different classes, but outside of that, everything was pretty much music related. And it was a great time too because my fiance was there and we were just, able to kind of like reconnect after all those years because I was in Spain, she was in the US, and then when we were in the US, she was in Tampa, I was in Orlando. It was like we never had that opportunity to kind of like be in the same place. So we just used that time to really just work on the relationship. But yeah, Shanghai was cool. It was really, really, really cool. I always talk about it now, even though it was just a few months ago, when I moved back. But I always talk about it. I'll go back um any day, jam with those guys again. And it was cool because I was able to connect with a different studios over there. There's like about four studios in Shanghai, two of which cater to music, two of which cater to film. And I was able to connect with the people at both the music studios. We did some work together when I first moved there and right before I left. Um, yeah, it was cool. I my advice though to anybody who would want to live in Shanghai, I would just pretty much tell them like obviously, try to find a teaching job so you can live there. But Shanghai, to me, Shanghai is pretty much just like the US, meaning like there's so many opportunities. You'll just have to go out there and network, talk to people that speak English because not everybody speaks English over there, but a good bit of people speaking English. But yeah, you just gotta get around and network, really.
Yeah, networking is key.
Yeah, it is. I used to be afraid to network at first, like because to me, I thought networking was so hard. Like you have to have this, you have to have this fake, genuine conversation with someone that you don't even know. But I just found out that if you are in the same place where someone else is, that means you guys have something in common. And you could just always start there, start with what you guys have in common and just go from there.
Yeah. So yeah, it's crazy that you say that because like our platform is like for networking, and we're always trying to help um, like other like artists, producers, engineers, we are like be able to meet each other and create that genuine, meaningful connection. So like when you were in Shanghai, was that when you first started to um, work with like local artists or major artists and start putting out music on like Spotify or Apple Music and that kind of stuff? Or
So I actually was doing that a little bit before. I want to say when I was in Full Sail was like the very first time I started like working with local artists and like releasing music to be on the different streaming platforms. Um, Shanghai was just add to that. Because I had already done music that has been published, I was able to say to, persons in Shanghai, hey, I did this. And luckily for me, I didn't know some of the music that I had done was even on the Chinese streaming platforms because I was using CD Baby and CD Baby reaches to everywhere, so I was able to show them, yeah, look me up on whatever the app, I don't remember the name, but whatever the app that you guys use here in China, like some of my music is on there. So that helped out perfectly. And I was able to work with Chinese artists and a guy from South Africa. His name is Tebow. He was living in Shanghai as well. And me and him, we worked on like a nice little EP that came out sometime last year.
Mhm.
It was before I moved to Shanghai, but moving to Shanghai just kind of made me look a little better, I would say, in terms of like trying to connect with people because I was able to give them a little backstory on the things that I've done. It wasn't just, oh, I'm just trying to do this now. And even while I was in Spain, I worked on releases that came out, not just music that are with the artists that I solely work with, but with persons that hired me to play piano on their tracks, persons that hired me to, be the recording engineer, or if I was just in the room directing the session. Like, yeah, there was a lot of things that came out of those years before moving to Shanghai.
Dope, dope. So like, how was it working with like Chinese artists? Because I'm sure there's like some sort of language barrier or how is it working with someone from a different culture with a different language in terms of music?
So when I was in Full Sail, I got close to this Chinese guy. His name is Yun, and he's from Beijing. So when I was moving to Shanghai, I was like, yo, let me call my old school connect. I was like, bro, I'm moving to Shanghai. If you got anything, let me know. We'll move to Shanghai. Started working with this girl. Her name was Jujun. Um, they were more in communication in terms of what she wanted. And because he spoke English, he would just communicate it back to me. So I didn't have any issues language wise because some of the persons that were in music in Shanghai, they spoke some English, but I was always around somebody that spoke both Chinese and English who would be able to translate it for me. So it wasn't an issue at all. But I'll tell you this: the music style is different because in China, hip hop isn't really a thing. R&B isn't really a thing. They really focus more on, electronic dance music, EDM, dubstep, rave music, trance music, that type of stuff. And then they have their own genre, which is called Chinese pop. So thankfully, I was able to work on some Chinese pop stuff, which is like some authentic Chinese stuff. But it wasn't my project entirely. It was a collaboration of me, my friend from China, who's also a producer, and then the talent that he, went out and found. So it was cool. It was a cool experience, honestly.
Yeah, sounds amazing. Like you were working with people in the Bahamas, then like in Spain, and then in Shanghai. Like that's like a very very diverse set of experiences and musicality even. Um,
It's crazy. It's crazy because, when I started this music thing, I always told myself that I wanted to be known in multiple genres, and a lot of the things that happened just basically happened from me being in the right place at the right time, I would assume. I didn't really forcefully go out looking for those opportunities. It was just me happening to meet someone and we get into conversation and then, oh, I know someone that does this and oh, I know someone that does that and oh, I do this and we just kind of blend like that. But I just remember telling myself from my teenage years that I wanted to do this music thing in multiple genres, multiple styles, multiple cultures, because I really love music. I know
yeah,
I know you guys probably speak to a lot of producers and a lot of artists who just love the genre that they do. But
yeah,
I personally love music in its entirety. Like I was telling you earlier, I did a
yeah,
I did a track that I named India. I knew right off the bat I couldn't do it unless I had someone that was actually Indian working on the project with me that would give me some sort of background to help me understand exactly what it is that I was doing. And that actually helped me to grow a stronger love for Indian music and actually respect Indian music because when you really think about the technical side of it, it's a whole nother world, man. Like, so again, I just love music, period. I know it sounds cliche, but it's the
yeah.
truth. I just anything, honestly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're in the U.S., so we don't really, most of the people that I usually talk to that we usually talk to are just people in Atlanta, which is mostly hip hop based
Yeah.
these days. Yeah, so you know, let's talk a little bit about A Major because you said like he's like one of your biggest, like he's the biggest artist that you've been working with, like that's your homie. So like, how long have you guys been working together? Is that like your ride or die type of situation kind of guy?
Yeah. Yeah. So we met, man, we were probably in middle school. We probably were in middle school when we met. Um, excuse me. And he he actually was the producer. I'll tell you this funny story. So I thought I was going to be a rapper slash singer. A Major was a producer. He made beats. He had a computer and he would make little beats on Fruity Loops. I was like, yo, that's crazy. Teach me how to do that. And as time went on, our roles just switched because he was already an amazing singer, but he wanted to make beats. I just started to learn how to make beats, and he just started learning how to write and do his thing. And so our roles just changed. So he's now the singer, and I'm the producer, and we've been working as that duo. I want to say it's 2020 now. I want to say for the past 7 years, we've been working as that duo. I helped him on his first project, like a little mixtape or something like that. And then his next project, which was called The Weekend, which is like his debut album. I produced everything on it. I think it was like 14 or 15 tracks, top to bottom. We worked on that while we were both in Orlando. Um, Worked on his next EP after that. We worked, and then pretty much all the singles. So when we really started to get into the music thing together, he told me straight up, he was like, "Bro, look, I only want you to make my music." And I took that as an honor because that means he had really trusted me with whatever it is he's trying to do music wise. So I took that as an honor, and I just really, really, really worked as hard as I can to kind of stay up to date to give him the best sound possible. But yeah, to me, I believe A Major has what it takes, not just because he's my friend, but because he has the raw talent for real. And I know a lot of people, they really, really
Yeah.
enjoy talent, like just a really talented person. So he has that. He can write, he can really sing. He's dope.
Sorry, one second.
Nah, you good.
Yeah, sorry about that.
It's all good.
But yeah, yeah, it's dope. So sorry, you were saying?
But yeah, I was just saying, like, I feel like he's one of those guys that has what it takes because of the level of talent that he has.
Yeah.
Um, so I hope you guys could hear more from him. Well, more of what we did, honestly. We're actually currently right now working on some new music for him.
Hmm.
It's hard because he's back in the Bahamas now, and I'm here in Atlanta. And in the Bahamas, they're still like on quarantine lockdown with everything that's going on. So the studios aren't open or anything like that. But yeah, that's my guy, man. That's my guy. We had a lot of great times together. We made a lot of great music. At least I feel like we made a lot of great music.
Hmm.
I look forward to doing more with him. Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Um, yeah. So, have you ever like struggled with? I mean, you had an incredible amount of discipline, incredible work ethic. Um, so did you ever struggle with like self doubt and struggle with, is music really what I want to do, or did you ever struggle with your passion? Like how did you overcome that? If you did.
So so yeah, I want to be honest and say I still struggle with doubt. Um, I don't think it's something that anyone can fully shake, especially like when you're an artist, because being an artist, like you're somewhat reliant on people accepting your work, people liking your work. Um, so I struggled with doubt when I first started. I struggle with doubt, in the middle, kind of still struggle with it now. But what I do to kind of help myself get out of those, ruts, those negative, moods
Hmm.
is honestly, I just try to remind myself of the end goal. There's so many things that I would want as a result of being successful in the music industry. But there's really just that one thing that I would love to accomplish. And because that goal is much bigger than me,
Hmm.
kind of motivates me to just keep going no matter what. Like I've been in situations where people have made me felt like, yo, your music ain't really, the situation. You should probably do something else. Like I've been in those situations before. But again, I have such a strong love and passion for this thing. If my music isn't ready today,
Hmm.
I mean tomorrow I'll come back and it'll be a little better tomorrow. And if it ain't ready tomorrow, then I'll come back next week. It might be better next week. I just kind of have that never give up type of mentality. Um, and honestly, like anybody that's struggling with doubt, again, it sounds so cliche, but if you continue to remind yourself that you can't give up, you know, it'll be so beneficial to you whenever you feel those little bits of doubt. I lost.
Hello.
Hey,
Hey, yeah, I think the connection got cut.
yeah, it did for a sec. What was the last thing you heard me say?
Um, you're talking about self doubt.
Yeah, so I went on to say like my advice to anyone that struggling with self-doubt now, um, pretty much remind themselves of the end goal, and again, your end goal should be bigger than you. If your end goal isn't something that's bigger than you, you need to rewrite your goals because you don't want to just be in this music thing or you don't want to just do anything because I want a nice house or I want a nice car at the end,
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Are you good?
Yeah, so like, I mean, I also know you talked about like losing your hard drive work and
Yeah.
like everything you've previously worked on up until that point, or was that just like some of the songs that you kind of
Everything, everything, all like from my very first beat to whatever I was working on at that time, I lost it all. That was back in 2016, I want to say. And I probably started making beats in like 2013, 2012, somewhere around there. Yeah, I lost everything. And that was very discouraging. Um, and I was in school. I had schoolwork on there. It was just one of those things that I was like, wow, I can't believe I have to start over from the very beginning. And as I said too, I was working on A Major's album. So pretty much after trying everything that I could possibly try, um, me and A Major, we decided that okay, we'll just have to start from scratch. And
Mhm.
I got the hard drive cleaned. I cleaned it and I got a new hard drive. And then I decided to just start over. So
You lost
everything I have now,
like,
sorry?
sorry. So you lost like your whole thesis project too and everything. Like
No, so no, that was the thesis project. I actually have that saved on my computer.
okay.
That's safe.
Yeah, yeah.
That's safe. But the music, anything music related, even down to my sounds, all my drum packs, my samples, everything I had to go back and get everything. Yeah, it was a big blow, man. It was a big blow, but now I have three hard drives, external hard drives.
Yeah.
I will never experience that again. Um, yeah.
People were talking about like using AWS or using so like it's always on the cloud or something. I don't know. Have you ever like tried that or
I don't trust the cloud, man. I feel like my information is so sensitive. I don't know. I don't really trust the cloud. And then I can't rely on good internet everywhere. At least I haven't been somewhere where the internet is like amazing. Even here and in my apartment, like I think we have good internet, but sometimes it drops. You know,
Yeah.
oh, yeah. So I just have three hard drives. Every now and then I'll back them up, make sure that I have everything that I need, and yeah, just try to.
Three different. You back it up three separate times, basically.
Sorry.
So you back it up like three separate times, like the same file. Like,
Yeah. So the one, so the hard drive that's in that I normally use, I back that up to another one, and then that one I back it up to another hard drive.
yeah, that's good. That's good. So you'll never
Never lose it.
lose
Never.
anything. Um. So yeah. So like, what are some of like your what are some of like your goals for this year? You know, for the summer, for maybe the next year, next 5 years. Like, where
Okay.
do you see yourself? Like, what is like your long term vision? That kind of stuff.
Got you. Got you. So I'll start off with the short term stuff. So for this year, honestly, I would like to have multiple placements with like major artists. I'm really looking forward to like that next step of in my career of potentially, getting a plaque, that type of thing. Um,
Yeah.
after that goal, I have a project of my own that I'm releasing, and I would love for this lo-fi record label to actually sign me on as one of their lo-fi producers because I also make lo-fi as well. I'm bringing out a project. I don't know when because I'm waiting on the graphics guy to finish the artwork, but that's probably going to be out this summer. Um, my goal for that project, honestly, is for that to just do its thing. It's for it to blow up on all the lo-fi channels. Again, I hope that the lo-fi label will sign me on as one of their producers because I've been trying to get in front of their face for a minute.
So how are you like reaching out to them right now? Like, how are you trying to get them to notice you?
LinkedIn. I,
LinkedIn.
I I added a few of them that work for the label on LinkedIn. The
Okay.
label manager is the only person who I need to speak to. He actually added me on LinkedIn. Like he accepted my request. So I was like, okay, that's cool. I think it's a bit lame to do the whole DM thing. So I was like, let me go check LinkedIn. Let me see if these guys on LinkedIn because it's kind of like, more professional. So I found him on LinkedIn and he accepted my request. And if you go on my LinkedIn, you would see everything, Big Bezzy, producer, Berkeley, all that stuff. So yeah, I'm just waiting for the right time, obviously, to reach out to him on LinkedIn. But I have been in contact with one of his coworkers, this guy named Ben, who's in charge of all of the playlist submissions because they have their own playlist and their own compilation albums that they drop. So I've been in communication with him for a few months now. Basically, right now they're not accepting any submissions, but I still like send them music. Hey, check this out. Let me know what you think. And like we're in correspondence, but um, I'm just waiting for this project that I've been working on since January. Actually, it's about 11 tracks. So I'm just waiting to complete this, and then I'll present it to them, give them a private link so they can go and listen to it, and let me know what they think. And that's my goal for that project.
Okay. That's dope. That's dope. Yeah, a lot of people don't use they don't really use LinkedIn to like connect with the professionals. I mean, a lot of music creators aren't on there.
Yeah.
They like the people that like A&R managers, people that work like professionally in the music industry.
The people that matter.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
The people that matter. I realized a little while ago that there's so many different resources that's available to us. I think it's important to try to use all. I'll reach out. I'll reach out to certain people on Instagram. Like, let's say if I want to produce something for, I don't know, let's say Zoe Dollars. He's like an artist from Miami, right? I wouldn't look up Zoe Dollars on LinkedIn. I'll just DM him on Instagram. But let's say I want to connect with an A&R or a manager at Atlantic Records.
Hmm.
If I DM them, I'm 100% sure they might not see it because everybody's trying to DM them on Instagram.
Yeah.
find out their real name, search them up on LinkedIn, 2 to 1, they'll respond to the message from LinkedIn. Just like how this label manager guy, he actually accepted my request. So it's cool. And LinkedIn, a lot of people are noticing. You can tell this to like other artists and other producers you speak to. Encourage them to use LinkedIn. A lot of people are using LinkedIn now as a resource to reach out to industry professionals. And if you have a professional profile, and if you approach these people in a professional way, you will get a response.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. Like we're trying to be like the LinkedIn for music in a way.
Oh, that's dope.
Like develop our own app and platform. Like we're actually coding it this summer. So like you'll be like entire music portfolio, and be like catered specifically for music, um, kind of stuff. Yeah. So like you're able to like, there'll be like collaboration features, networking features, like analytic features, all that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
Um, so like specifically like music. Yeah.
Looking forward to that then.
Yeah, definitely.